Hi, my name's Lee, and welcome to the PPUK Podcast. Today, I'm with Leah, resident makeup artist, and today we're going to be talking about the Prince Urban Decay collection. So,
Exciting.
I know. So, Leah, we've put the article up, last night, and we've been talking about it the last couple of days. And obviously, this is your field of expertise, so we thought it'd be good just to have a little mini podcast chat about the collection and about the article that you wrote. And I know over the years, me and you have worked on a few little makeup projects, and I'm always learning from you. And you did that book with all your photographs, all your makeup
Yeah.
collection, and this is the field of expertise. So perhaps tell us a bit about your background, and then we can talk about the collection.
Yep. Well, hi everyone. I didn't think I'd end up kind of doing this kind of introduction on a PPUK podcast. I thought the makeup stuff would never be mentioned.
It's kind of like the meeting of best of both worlds, of the print stuff
I know.
and the makeup stuff. And
Yeah, it's like my dreams come true.
and when we talked about doing the podcast like many moons ago, and then you came on board, I don't think we always talked about doing albums and events and reviews and stuff like that. And I don't think I ever thought I'd be doing a podcast about makeup. So thank you for helping me and guiding me.
We're going to take this journey together.
Yes, exactly.
But for those that don't know, by day, my day job is I'm a lecturer on a media hair and makeup course at degree level, and I have my own freelance hair and makeup business. So that's been my career for the whole of my adult life. And of course, I have been a hardcore Prince fan. I've been a part of the Prince community since I was 13. So I've been around for a while in the community. So this is like the perfect release for me. So I'm not even going to try and contain my excitement, to be honest.
I know. It was like when I saw and heard about this, she was the first person I thought of. It was like, oh, right, But the thing is, this announcement, correct me if I'm wrong, it just came out of the blue. It was like, I think there was a couple of promo videos that I saw on social media. And then I think the following day, it kind of got announced. And, people were always waiting for like the next vinyl release or the next album release or what's coming from the vault. And this was kind of out of the blue. I know with the estate and everything, there's been a lot of talk about licensing the music and stuff like that, but it just seems like a whole other revenue of, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense because of what he did and, the famous picture of him doing the makeup in the mirror and stuff like that. So, when you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, it does make sense.
It does, but it went completely under the radar. Like normally we know when there's a vinyl release, we find out. It comes out before, we all kind of know what's coming, but this went completely under the radar, and I was almost slightly offended when it was announced and I hadn't already been informed.
It's like, yeah, Leah didn't know about this. How comes? Yeah, exactly.
I was like, yeah, how did this happen? But yeah, we had the first teaser go up on May 6th, which was of Martin's work.
Yeah.
And the artwork that he's done for that, which of course, as soon as any fans saw that, it might have just been a picture of Prince's eye, but we all knew what was going on.
Yeah, exactly.
From that, we may not have known the collection was coming, but we knew there was obviously some form of collaboration there. But no, I had absolutely no idea. I have students that work at Urban Decay and things like that, and this had not reached me on any platform, whether it be Prince or makeup. So it was a really nice surprise, actually.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise, and from what I've seen with Martin over the years, he's still doing work with the estate. He's a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And he's not mentioned anything, and I presume he was under contract and non-disclosure. But yeah, no, his artwork and the stuff that he's done over the years has always been amazing. And and that's the other thing that I know we've mentioned before about how Prince embraced artists within the community and had it on their t-shirts or used it as album artwork. So it's always good to keep, as much as sometimes the estate gets criticism for it, is that they're keeping that trend of using people within the community for future projects and future products.
Use me for this one.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, I did have a very, very brief conversation with Martin, and he said that it was really nice because everyone that was working on the palette were the same team that was working when Prince was alive, and it was the same team. So it was a nice experience from his perspective as well, which I think is really reassuring. It seems to have really divided fans, this particular release. So I think it is reassuring to those that maybe aren't sure about this release that this is the same people, the same team that were around Prince, obviously prior to his death.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to hear. And I know we keep saying release; it's actually a physical product. It's not vinyl.
Yeah.
You're so used to saying it's a release, and it's not. It's a product release. I guess is the best way to put it. Is it's more of a launch. Yeah, product launch. Yeah, licensed product launch. There we go.
There it is.
So what do you and like I said, this is your field of expertise, so guide us on it. So what do you actually think of this product?
I think, for starters, I don't think anyone can argue with the packaging. Anyone
No.
that's seen the Vault collection that is going to be released first, which, for the record, for anyone that maybe hasn't seen the full list, is going to be 2 full eyeshadow palettes. So that's 10 shades per palette. We're going to get 2 eyeliner pencils, 1 in black, 1 in white. We're going to get a liquid highlight, a multitasker brush, and we're going to get a setting powder. So that's going to come in one large collection, which is the Vault collection. It's going to come in black and purple, which is a collector's nightmare.
Why would that be a collector's nightmare? It's just more
because
you'd have to buy
you need both.
You have to buy 4, 2 to keep and 2 to use. Right, got you.
Yes, but for me as a makeup artist, it gets worse because the collector in me needs 1 of each to put away. The makeup artist in me needs 1 of each to use on myself, and then the makeup artist in me needs 1 of each to use in my kit on other people.
So that's 6.
Yeah, it gets pretty pricey. So we don't even have a confirmed price yet of the set. I think it works out, if we have the individual pricing of the products, and it works out around $250, so around £180. But we don't know whether they're going to make that a cheaper, like as a collection set, or if it's going to stay the same or more expensive. So it's going to be the waiting game on that one. But
the other question I have, and I think it was asked on Instagram this afternoon, was like, is this going to be available in the UK? And I believe it is. I think it's listed on the UK website. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, it is going to be available in the UK, as far as I can tell. The Urban Decay website have been promoting it in the UK. It hasn't just been the American site. The only catch is with that is if you are a loyalty account holder, which I am as a pro makeup artist, you do get pre-order on the 21st. However, from what I can tell, that is US only, which is a little bit of a hindrance. I have actually messaged Urban Decay about that to see if it 100% is the case, or if there's a way of negotiating that within the UK.
Would that be a worldwide release, or obviously within the UK at the same time, or will that be later on a release and then you'll get the...
So all it is if you are a loyalty card holder, you will get pre-order on the 21st. You won't get the product before anyone else. It is just pre-order on the 21st. And then general sale for everyone is on the 27th of the month. So it is going to be available worldwide. It's just pre-order might depend on your country and on what type of account you have with Urban Decay.
Right, okay. And in terms of the products and what's on offer, is that, does it have everything, and correct me if I'm wrong, does it have everything that you would use as a makeup artist, or as an individual, or as a pro makeup artist?
Urban Decay are really known for quality. I know a lot of makeup artists that use Urban Decay. I have them in my pro kit myself. I have 2 of their eyeshadow palettes, number of their bronzers. So they are an industry recognized brand. They're really popular. They're sort of mid-range. So they're perfect for a lot of makeup artists that don't want to, pay Chanel prices, for example. But they're also not bottom of the range. They're really known for pigment and colour payoff with their eyeshadows. So they are really popular amongst professionals. I use them myself. I know a lot of artists that do. As in, is it everything that you need? No, it's not. Would I be able to do a full face out of this collection? No, there are things missing. But I think it's kind of everything that I'd want out of a collection, really. The only thing that I have heard a lot of fans upset about is there's no lipsticks.
Okay.
Which I can understand, I get, but for me it would have felt a little bit odd to have lipsticks. You know, Prince wore powder, Prince wore eyeshadow, Prince wore what else was a highlighter. He wore those things. So for me, the lipsticks he wore on very rare occasions, the odd photo shoot. It just would have felt a little bit of a step away for me personally. But lipsticks are something that would normally come in a collection of this kind. So
and this is a limited edition set, isn't it? It's not going to be a regular thing. So that's the other thing of, you know, if everyone wants 6 copies of it, you know, are they going to get the 6 copies of it? And, you know, and the other, you know, and obviously the other issue is cost. And, you know, I think it was what, 170 something if it was in pounds. You know, will everyone be able to afford, you know, at least two copies or 4 copies of each?
We do have the benefit of this is a limited collection, so you don't have to go with this. We are going to get an individual product release later in the year, so you are going to be able to choose which eye palette you prefer and just buy one of them, or just buy the brush, or just buy the powder, whatever you like. You can pick and mix. So there is that benefit if there are some products that don't particularly appeal to you. You're not forced to buy the collection and it be all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a really cool benefit. It's just the waiting game, I think, is sad, you know, because we're not getting those individual releases yet. So for the people that can't afford to just go and buy the collection straight away, it's going to be a case of sitting and waiting until it's available.
Do you think they'll expand on the collection and have like additional items if this is going to be as popular as we think it's going to be?
I can't imagine them expanding it on this release. I think the potential of a later additional collection is an option if it's really popular. But I can't imagine them adding to this one. What they tend to do is do a big, large release and it be kind of here for a few months and gone. So the whole release is limited, even with the individual products being sold at a later date, from what I can tell.
But as a makeup artist, once you use that item and you can't get it again, won't it be frustrating that, you know, you've got this particular shade or you've got this particular, you know, correct me, this, you know, once you've run out, that's it. You know, surely there's going to be some level of frustration, and also how sparring that you use the product as well, because it's like you'll only use it for certain, I presume, certain shoots and certain, you know, obviously when we have Prince parties or we'll have a Prince event, people will be using the, hopefully you'd be using the makeup or whatever, but it would be, you know, as much as you bought the product and you've got this, you know, the versions that you're not going to open, you're going to keep, but then there's the ones that you're going to use up and you'll be like, I won't be able to use it anymore. There's going to be some level of frustration as well.
It is definitely going to be frustrating. However, to put it bluntly, it's a brilliant marketing technique. It's a brilliant way to get in more sales. You know, if you see that shade and you absolutely love that shade of purple and you know it's limited, you're going to go out and buy another copy. You're going to go and get it whilst you can in case you run out. So it's a brilliant marketing technique. And I think it's come at the right time for the estate. I know there's been a debate whether would Prince want it, would he not?
And I knew this was going to come up in a discussion when we talked about doing this, is the whole debate of would he have wanted this, and you know, some fans have got to realize, and people within the community, you know, the licensing, you know, do you want his music to continue, do you want Paisley Park to stay open? You know, there is a legacy aspect and that costs money, and you know, if they're going to license him, you know, and something like this, you know, it doesn't look cheap. It doesn't, you know, it looks professional. It looks like a you know, a really good physical product. And, you know, people need to realize that there's going to be, you know, licensing deals and licensed products that, you know, where money is coming in and it is helping the estate. So you need to understand, you know, they need money coming in, and obviously if they're backing up all his previous material, that costs money. Things cost money, so they need money coming in, for if something like this comes out and that helps get another, something from the vault to be released, then there's that balancing of accept this to get this. There's an equal equation. Back to the makeup.
But there is, before we change point completely.
Yeah, go on.
I think all businesses have had the year from hell with COVID. Paisley has its tours.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's lost a lot of revenue that way as well. So I think it's brilliantly timed just to give a little a boost to the estate. And on top of that, it's really broadened the horizons of Prince fans. The fact that I've had my students come up to me and say, "Oh, Leah, have you heard about the new Urban Decay release? It's a Prince thing."
So I have. I'm in the Prince community.
I'm like, yeah, I'm aware of that release.
Yeah.
So
it's when people start asking me, "Oh, have you heard about the makeup collection?" I'm like, "Yeah,
of course."
But yeah, but it's good to see, and like you said, it's not been an easy year, and I the thing is, I'm always happy to see new products, new licensed products, and as long as it's not a cheap and tacky item, I think. Support it. If it's something you want, and especially with collectors, how many people do we know in the community that that don't use makeup and still want to collect it? There's always the joke of the symbol could be on anything and a Prince fan would want it.
I saw some really funny comments actually from some very maybe disgruntled male fans that are collectors that have said, I'm gonna have to buy something, I'm never gonna use it. And I did feel like messaging them back saying, you probably own like 6 versions of crystal balls sealed in your attic. You're not using those either.
Yeah, exactly. You're not using those. And if would I be interested in buying it? It's not as a Prince fan, it's not my type of thing. Yeah. But in terms of the actual, I like the design of it and how it, it opens up. Ironically, how it opens up, it always reminds me of the doors opening on the music video. Get off. Yeah, exactly. It was almost like, so there's some elements of Prince in the product design. I'm sure that was taken into consideration.
One of my favorite things about the whole design, aside from Martin's work, actually was, and I don't know if you've noticed this, I'm sure that people have, is you have the writing on the front, and it's all different Prince songs. It says like "Get Off," "When Doves Cry," which are kind of all shade names of the eyeshadows within the product. So all the eyeshadows are called after Prince songs, and all those songs are kind of on the front of the box. But what I haven't seen people talking about is the font is the Love Symbol album font, which I thought was a really nice touch.
Yes, exactly. So it kind of incorporates everything with it. And in terms of the shades and the names, do you think they fit? Are you happy as an individual? Are you happy as a makeup artist of the shades that they're offering in? I'd never even thought I'd have this conversation in a podcast, but is that, are you happy with, the color range? I presume
we call them color stories.
Color stories, thank you.
So color stories within the palettes. We have 2, and I kind of I see them as 2 different eras of Prince. We have a more purpley tone one, which strikes me as very 80s Prince.
80s, yeah.
And then we have the more gold tone palette, which strikes me as very Prince 90s. So we have like a nice variation. The only thing that I wish is that we had a true purple in there, which I can't believe isn't there. It kind of blows my brain. We have like shimmery purples, but they're slightly grey in tone or slightly muted. I would have just loved a matte rich purple and a shimmer rich purple. But aside from that, I think they're really nice colour stories. But they are a lot of shimmers. So for people out there that are going to be using the collection, I think you've got to be happy with shimmers. But it seems suitable. It's Prince, all that glitters,
Yeah, it's gold, exactly.
But
I'm literally just looking at the product images now and just looking at the different, you are right, there is an element of it being very 80s in terms of the colour, and then further along it being 90s. And obviously I love the fact that it's Martin's graphic of the eyes within the packaging, and the use of the symbol, and you know, it is a good combination of, you know, would he approve it? No, I don't know. You know,
Who
but I
knows?
think he would like the packaging.
Yeah.
I
I think
think,
maybe he'd have put like a record inside that box
yeah,
and done a
exactly.
limited release, maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
and this was the other debate about, you know, all the videos that had popped up. It's like, oh, why didn't they use this song? Why did they have to use this song? And I think it's like "Let's Go Crazy" is used
but
on the
that's
promo.
the name of one of the palettes, so that
So
works. I'm
yeah.
very happy that they haven't just gone in with Purple Rain, and that, you know, I know it's still a Purple Rain album track, but I'm happy they haven't gone in with the screamingly obvious. I really liked in the promo video. I'm a Prince 90s girl, we all know that. But I really
And I'm the
liked,
90s guy. Everyone knows that
yeah.
as well.
So I liked in the promo videos that they weren't just showing clips out of the movie, that they were like 90s clips that real fans are aware of, but not necessarily everyone who's more of a relaxed fan will have seen. So I liked that. And I like the fact that that corresponded with the shade names in the palette. They're not just obvious songs. We've got a shade in there called So Dark. You know, we've got some rarities, which I think is lovely. It's not just screamingly obvious. It feels like it has genuinely been put together by fans, not just
And
people
this
on
is
a
the other
marketing.
thing. There's been some thought in the design, in the packaging, and, you know, the shades that are on offer. I'm just looking at the shade names now. Have you got a list of the shade names off the top of your head, or?
No, I'm trying to remember some of them off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. We have a raspberry beret, which of course is a red shade. We have So Dark. We have When Doves Cry, which is a white shimmer, a white tone. And I believe actually one of the eyeliners is called.
I feel like there's going to be a quiz at the end of this podcast. It's like,
This is all coming straight off my head. I should have noted down all the shades.
the thing is what the in joke between me and you is, obviously we've done some projects over the years, and I always joke about you're always educating me on makeup and stuff like that. And then obviously with this now, it's like, yeah, I'm learning so much from you.
This is the ultimate test now, Lee.
Exactly, it is the ultimate test. But yeah, overall, you know, you can't, and yeah, like you said, with the symbol album font on the packaging, and then the symbol on there, it's very much 80s 90s in terms of the design. And I'd love to, you know, speak to them and how it all came about. I'm sure that'd be an interesting thing to see if, you know, the estate and Urban Decay do some, you know, how this project came about. That'd be quite interesting to see.
I think it would be really interesting.
How it goes, you know, you see behind the scenes of, you know, the people that came up with the concept and how it came about and the initial designs. I think that'd be really, really good to see. You know, I think someone like you would geek out on it, and, you know,
100%.
Interesting to see.
So one thing I do really like, that I do want to point out in particular, is the setting powder compact. So for those people that are going to use it, I think this is probably the one thing that everyone is going to love. It may not be the most interesting thing to look out of the whole collection. It might be the one thing you maybe cast your eyes over, but a setting powder compact is the one of two things that people always pack in their bag when they wear makeup. You pack your lipstick and you pack your powder. So I really like the fact that we've got a compact, which is from their all-nighter collection. So for those that maybe aren't familiar with Urban Decay, one of their most popular products is their all-nighter setting spray, which you put on after you've done your makeup, and it holds your makeup in place.
I knew that.
So
go on.
So, the all-nighter setting powder is an addition to that, and it's meant to hold your makeup in place for 11 hours, which is fabulous. But for me, the coolest thing is that when I'm out and about, I can take out a Prince compact with a massive gold symbol on, and while I'm powdering my face and looking in the little mirror of the compact, you know, my symbol's on show. So it's not just going to be something that goes in the drawer and is never seen. It's something that is going to come about with you and people are going to see, which I think is really cool.
And obviously people are going to see it, especially at a Prince event. So it'll be like, you know, everyone will have their, I'm sure people will be walking around with the whole set, and it'll be like in the powder room, shall I say, and it'll be like, hey, you got, you know, and
yeah,
you know.
I think it's the most usable. I think it's going to be the most used product out of all the kit, because we have the eyeshadows. Some of them are crazy colors. People aren't necessarily going to want to wear those on a daily basis. They are pretty bold. But just a powder compact to mattify your face, it's going to be something that people can use every single day of the week. So
I have two questions for you. One, would you be doing makeup tutorials with this product? Something to look forward to, folks. And will you be doing an unboxing video, or will that be a race between you and Chopin?
Well, I think Chopin can keep his knife away from this collection.
Exactly. For those that don't know, seen Chopin's unboxing video where he unboxes the vinyl with a big giant knife.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am planning on doing an unboxing, but I'm going to be in the mad scramble with everyone else to get this product. As I mentioned in the article, Urban Decay's collections sell out super fast. Their Alice in Wonderland one sold out in 2 hours and ended up selling on eBay for like $500 when it retailed at like $52.
Is that a concern for you as a fan and as a makeup artist?
It is a concern, just because I'm one of those people that always wants the right products to go to the right people, and I just really hope. And I'm just as bad, because I'm going to be buying additional boxes of this to go in a collection. But I really hope that it doesn't go all to the collectors that are going to put it away, and the people who genuinely want this collection to wear and kind of celebrate. I really hope those people.
I suppose there's an element of that as well, isn't it? You know, people that want to actually use this product. Do you think there's an appeal to non-Prince fans for this set? Do you think it's more of?
I think so. I think I kind of see this every day, obviously teaching. My students come in, and they come in so often in like vintage 80s tour t-shirts of different artists and things like that. Now, are they hardcore Prince fans? No, they probably got that Purple Rain t-shirt from Primark and they just thought it looked cool and it was vintage. But for those people that are interested in sort of vintage nostalgia and things like that, those people I think are going to jump all over this collection. But I think that will be more when it's for individual sale as opposed to the box set. I think this box set is predominantly going to go to the Prince collectors, and like it or not, sorry guys, the makeup collectors, because we are out there that will just buy the Urban Decay collection boxes regardless of who the collection's with.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think of that. That, you know, there's, and obviously with any fan group, there's always the collectors, and obviously with the makeup community, there's obviously sets that you want to keep. And obviously,
we're competing.
Yeah, I know. So
competition.
It's going to be what was it? Eyeshadow at dawn. I don't know. But yeah, is there anything else you want to say about the collection? I know, and obviously, you know, I think there were some comments about perhaps doing or re-releasing the perfumes. I don't know if you saw that, of what he's previously done, like Get Wild and 3121, and
a re-release of those. That would be interesting.
Yeah, and you know, do you think this is going to open the doors to other? I think it is other licensed products, such as, you know, perhaps re-releasing the perfumes or another perfume set.
I think re-releasing the perfumes would be amazing, and I think it would be a really great decision, actually. The estate are never going to please everyone. There's always going to be someone that's not happy.
Exactly.
But I think re-releasing a product that Prince had already okayed, Prince had already been happy with, I think is a really brilliant option. And I think we're at a point where everyone's 3121 perfumes going a bit funky, and their Get Wild perfume went funky a long time ago.
Yeah, I was obviously a mutual friend of ours, Maureen's, and it was like, oh wow, you have the Get Wild perfume, and she had it, and I was like, yeah, you just don't want to.
You don't want to go near it.
You don't. It's like, as much as, because I remember when that came out and you had the single and everything like that, and it was like, oh, I really wanted that, and you never had it, and then you go to someone's house and they have it, but obviously the years have passed and it doesn't really, exactly, it doesn't really do it that justice. But I think
I think it would really work, and I think it is going to open the doors to other collections. I was shocked a little bit when it was Urban Decay, a little bit, because I've been talking about Prince collection coming out forever. I think forever I've wanted this, and I've spoken to people about this happening. But I thought, actually, my prediction for those that are, you know, pretty up to date with makeup companies and things, I thought Illamasqua were going to jump on this one because they've done collections named after Bowie and things like that, and they're quite quirky and alternative and do lots of glitters. So I thought, oh, maybe Illamasqua are going to jump on this one. But when it came out that it was Urban Decay, at first I was a little bit shocked because they are a little bit more mainstream than I maybe anticipated jumping on this. But now that I've seen the collection and just silly things like they call their fan base the Purple Fam, which is really yeah, and that's like before any of this. Purple has been their color always.
Oh, I did not know that. See, that's interesting.
Yeah,
so someone at Urban Decay has obviously just done the maths and is like, this would be a perfect fit.
And the founder is a really big fan, so I'm going to say that she probably had a big hand in this one.
Oh, and obviously Purple Fam, and then the Prince community, and then someone.
So I think maybe they've been waiting for the opportunity to jump on this.
Yeah, so that kind of makes more sense now, and that's a very, very clever marketing of the color, the fan name, and stuff. So a company has a fan group name for a makeup. Oh, I suppose so. Yeah. What did you learn today, Lee? Well, today I learned. Yeah, come.
You've learned a lot today.
I have learned a lot today, and I always appreciate it. It's something interesting. And like I said, for me as a designer and a fan of Martin's work, it doesn't look cheap. It looks, and even with
Nicholas's work as well, we can't forget that name drop.
Yeah, exactly. And this, like you said earlier, it's there's people that have been involved with Prince's creative process in the past, and even with the marketing, I'm just looking at some of the materials we've got in the article, the photography, the video that they've done, it looks good, and people would argue, would this be something he would do? I don't know, but I think he would be happy with the product, and I think he'd be happy with how it would be marketed,
with Demarais as well. I think it's a really great choice. We have the iconic mirror selfie with the makeup, which everyone knows that.
Yeah, and I remember when that picture came out, and it was on Twitter, and I think the story goes that he was doing it, and he said, "Oh, get your phone out," or something like that. He said to her, and then she took the picture, and and then he got her to share it online. Something like that. So, and it ties it to that, and that history of of that time with him when he was on tour and she was on stage, and the fact that they've used her as well. I think it puts a nice bow around the whole thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because they're always going to need a face for the campaign. They're always going to need a model to put this stuff on. Prince isn't here to show the shades, to show them or anything like that. So they're always going to need a face for the brand. And they could have very easily just gone for a really popular Instagram influencer, a really popular makeup artist. But I really like the fact that they went with someone who knew him, someone who has beauty experience, of course, being a model. She's been around that, her entire career. So I think it was a really wise choice.
Okay, cool. Is there anything else you would like to say? This has been quite informative, or have you got anything else that we've missed? I don't think there is.
I don't think so. I think that's it. I think we've covered it all.
Really?
Who knew there was so much?
There was. So thank you for your time with this. I think the article is on our website, and thank you, Leah, for writing that article and your insider knowledge of makeup.
No problem.
And thank you for always educating me.
Hopefully I'm going to be able to do some videos with this after launch.
Well, that's the other thing I suppose we could talk about is like over the last few months you did the makeup looks of all the different Prince styles, and you had your own little photo shoots, and they were incredibly popular.
Yeah, so hopefully I'm going to do some more. I kind of tweeted when all this came out, I tagged Urban Decay and I was like, we've been doing Prince makeup over here for ages, and kind of tagged them in a few of my looks. So I'm looking forward to kind of going creative with it. The campaign has just done basic purple smoky eyes and things like that. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to cover crazy eye makeup and really creative stuff, and then also do some wearable day looks as well. So realistically, how are people going to be able to wear this palette? So hopefully I'll be able to get those videos out as soon as possible if I can get some.
Yeah, exactly. Should I open the set that I'm collecting, or should I open?
Oh, I
Yeah,
know.
it'll be the sacrifice. Yeah.
Decisions.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Leah, and it's always good to chat and talk to you about makeup, as always.
As always. Thank you.
All
No
right.
problem.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.